Genealogies are like family trees. They tell us who came from whom. The Bible uses genealogies to show how people are connected. These lists of names might seem boring at first, but they tell us important things about God's plan. They show how God kept his promises over many years. Genealogies were carefully recorded and preserved. They were like important documents. Families kept track of their ancestors. These records helped people understand their place in the world. They also showed how they fit into God's story. In ancient times, knowing your family history was essential. It proved your heritage and even your right to land or titles. Genealogies were a source of pride and identity. They connected people to their past and gave them a sense of belonging. The Bible includes many genealogies. They're found in both the Old and New Testaments. These genealogies serve different purposes. Some, like those in Genesis, trace the history of humanity from Adam. Others, like those in the Gospels, focus on specific individuals. Luke chapter 3, verses 23 to 37, contains the genealogy of Jesus Christ. This passage traces Jesus' lineage back to Adam. It is a long list of names, but it is important for understanding who Jesus is. It shows that he is connected to the line of David. This genealogy is unique because it traces Jesus' lineage back through Mary, his mother, rather than Joseph, his earthly father. This is significant because it establishes Jesus' legal claim to the throne of David. It also highlights his humanity. The genealogy in Luke starts with Jesus. It then goes backward through time. It lists his ancestors all the way back to Adam. Each name represents a generation in Jesus' family line. This passage tells us that Jesus is part of a long line of people. He's connected to the history of Israel. This genealogy shows that God's plan for salvation has been unfolding for centuries. The genealogy in Luke includes some very famous names. These names represent important people in the Bible. One of these names is David. David was a great king of Israel. God promised David that one of his descendants would rule forever. Jesus is that descendant. He is the Messiah, the promised king. Another important name in the genealogy is Abraham. God made a covenant with Abraham. He promised to bless Abraham's descendants. Through Abraham, all the nations of the world would be blessed. Jesus, as a descendant of Abraham, fulfills this promise. The genealogy also lists some less famous names, but each name is important. They all represent real people who lived and died. They are all part of God's story. They all played a role in bringing Jesus into the world. By including these names, the genealogy reminds us that God works through ordinary people. He uses flawed individuals to accomplish his purposes. Jesus' family tree is a testament to God's grace and faithfulness. Section 4, son of Jesus, a genealogical enigma. The genealogy in Luke chapter 3, verses 23 to 37, presents a unique challenge when it lists as the son of Jesus in Luke 3:28. This seems to contradict the traditional understanding of Jesus' life and teachings. It is important to remember that textual discrepancies can occur in ancient manuscripts. There are several possible explanations for this discrepancy. One possibility is a scribal error. Copying manuscripts by hand was a meticulous process, but mistakes could happen. A scribe might have accidentally inserted the wrong name or misplaced a line. Another possibility is that there were two different individuals named Jesus in the same lineage. This is not uncommon in biblical genealogies. The genealogy in Matthew, for example, lists two individuals named Joram in Matthew 1:8. It is also possible that is not meant to be taken literally as the son of Jesus, but rather as a symbolic representation of a group or a generation. This would be consistent with other instances in biblical genealogies where individuals represent larger entities. While the mention of son of Jesus, remains a point of scholarly debate, it does not diminish the overall message of the genealogy in Luke. The primary purpose of this passage is to establish Jesus' lineage back to Adam, highlighting his humanity and his connection to the history of Israel. Section 5. The importance of lineage, connecting Jesus to history. Genealogies were incredibly important in biblical times. They helped people understand their identity. They showed how they were connected to their ancestors, and they proved their right to things like land and inheritance. The genealogy of Jesus is important for all these reasons. It shows that Jesus was a real person who lived in a specific time and place. He was not a mythical figure. He was a Jewish man who was born into a specific family. The genealogy also shows that Jesus was part of God's plan from the very beginning. God had promised to send a Savior, and he had promised that this Savior would come from the line of David. The genealogy proves that Jesus fulfilled these promises. Finally, the genealogy of Jesus is important because it shows that he is connected to us. We are all descendants of Adam, and we are all part of God's family. Through Jesus, we have been grafted into the family of God. Section 6, Conclusion, the enduring legacy of Jesus' genealogy. The genealogy of Jesus Christ, as presented in Luke 3:23-37, is more than just a list of names. It is a testament to God's faithfulness, his plan of salvation, and Jesus' rightful place in history. While the mention of as the son of Jesus presents a unique challenge, it does not diminish the overall message of the genealogy. This detailed lineage connects Jesus to the great patriarchs of the Old Testament, emphasizing his humanity and his Jewish heritage. It affirms his legal claim to the throne of David and underscores his role as the promised Messiah. The genealogy of Jesus serves as a powerful reminder that God works through generations to fulfill his promises. Through Jesus, we are all connected to a rich spiritual heritage. His genealogy invites us to explore our own faith journeys and to marvel at the intricate tapestry of God's plan woven through the ages. It is a timeless reminder that God's love extends to all people, regardless of their background or lineage, and that through faith in Jesus Christ, we become part of his eternal family.